All right, so the very first one. The very first one, you're asked to solve this system of equations, and we learned 3 different ways to do it, and the 3 ways are listed in the box above. You can solve them by graphing and seeing where they cross. You can solve them by substitution, which, if you recall, is where you solve for either x or y and then plug that into the other equation. Or we can solve it by elimination, where you add them together and something cancels. Which one would you like to do?
Elimination.
Elimination. So if I add these together right now, nothing will cancel. So what can I multiply which one by to get it so that something will cancel with it? What did you say, Tristan? Okay, if I take the bottom and multiply, no, you're right, the bottom one by 2, then that would give me 2x plus 2y equals negative 2, right? And then I'll rewrite the first one underneath that. So if I add those together, now what happens to the x's? They cancel, they are eliminated. 2y plus y is 3y, and negative 2 plus 2 is 0. So that means y equals what? 0. If I divide both sides by 3, 0 divided by 3 is 0. So y equals 0. Okay? Then I also have to figure out what x is. X would be negative 1. How? Oh, because it's a multiple choice? Okay. But you would know that x would be negative 1 because you plug in 0 for y. So that would be x plus 0 equals negative 1. So obviously x equals negative 1. So our answer would be, I got negative 1 because I took the 0 that I figured out in the first place, plugged it in there for y. So x plus 0 equals negative 1. So since x plus 0 is just x equals negative 1. All right, same deal for the next one, but it's considerably trickier. Because now if you want to solve this by elimination, you can't just multiply one of the 2 equations by a number. You have to multiply them both by a number. So do you want to get rid of the x's or the y's? The y's? What's the smallest number that 6 and 4 both go into evenly? 12. What can I multiply the top equation by to turn the 6 into a 12? 2. So that would become 6x plus 12y equals 0. What can I multiply the bottom equation by to turn the 4y into, wait for it, negative 12? By negative 3. Good. So negative 3 times 7x is negative 21x. Negative 3 times 4y is negative 12y. And negative 3 times 20 is negative 60. Okay? So now we're set up. 6x minus 21x is how many x's? Negative 15 x's. The y's cancel. 0 plus negative 60 is negative 60. What do I do to solve that? Divide by negative 15. So x equals 4. Okay, Lexi?
Well, we just slow down just a little bit.
Yeah.
Brianna's just freaking out back here.
I know, she always freaks out. She comes to
I
class
can't
like twice the whole year. And then, okay, so now to figure out what y equals, what do I do? Plug it in to where?
The top one.
Okay, you want to do the top one? So 3 times 4 is 12. So that gives me 12 plus 6y equals 0. What do I do to solve that? Subtract 12 from both sides. So the 12's cancel. So 6y equals negative 12. Then divide both sides by 6. So y equals negative 2, which is answer choice C. Okay, then the next one is super easy. You have to match up the graph. So the first equation says y equals negative 1/3 x minus 2. Where does that cross the y-axis? Negative 2. And then what is its slope? Negative 1 over 3. So I'm having a hard time finding that graph. Does anybody? Oh, no, it's B. B crosses the y-axis at negative 2 and has a slightly downward slope. And if you look at the other line that's graphed, that crosses the y-axis at 3, which is what we want. It has an upward slope. And so the first line looks like this. What? Right, but C doesn't match the first equation because that has a positive slope and we need a negative slope. Okay, let me do a little bit better job on my graph here so you can see what I'm talking about. Well, thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay, here's what I'm talking about, Brianna. This one crosses at negative 2, right? So to put a dot at negative 2, it has a slope of negative 1/3, which means we go down 1 and over 3, down 1 and over 3.
Okay, now you're making sense.
Okay, good.
Oh, there's 2 lines.
Okay, so there's the first one, right? Okay, the next equation is y equals 4/3 x plus 3. So where does that cross the y-axis? 3. And it has a slope of 4/3, so it's up 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1, 2, 3. So this one looks like this. Okay, and so which graph is that? That's B. They cross right here at negative 3, negative 1. Okay? Does that make sense? Good. So it is B. Okay, number 4. Is Tristan using fancy words to say the same thing. Okay, it says which ordered pair is the solution to the system. That's just the same thing as saying solve this system. All right. Now, since this is already solved for x, I'm going to use substitution. So I'm going to take this thing right here and substitute it in for the x right there. So instead of writing 2x minus y equals negative 2, I'm going to write 2 times 1/3 y minus y equals negative 2. And the reason that I can do that is because x equals that, so I can replace the x with that. Okay? So what's 2 times 1/3 y? What? Well, this is like 2 over 1, right? So it's 2/3 y minus y equals negative 2. 2 times 1 is 2, 1 times 3 is 3, so it's 2/3 y. Okay? What's 2/3 of a y take away a whole y? Negative 1/3 y, because you're taking away more than you have. How do I, this is, remember we did this in like November, and I said when I asked this question, I wanted you all to stand up and shout it at the same time. Right, multiply by the reciprocal. Okay? So I'm going to multiply this by negative 3 over 1. And I'm going to multiply this by negative 3 over 1. Okay? So those cancel. Y equals, a negative times a negative is a positive. 2 times 3 is 6. And 6 divided by 1 is 6. Okay? So y is 6. What's x? Oh, okay. Well, just for funnies, how would you figure out what x would be if it was not a multiple choice? Anybody? What? Plug it in. So if I plug 6 into there, 1/3 of 6 is 2. So my answer is x equals 2 and y equals 6, which is B. Okay, number 5. Same thing again. You got an x equals and you got a y equals, so we're going to go substitution here. Do you want to take this and substitute it into this x? Or do you want to take this and substitute it into that y?
The X.
The x? Okay, so I'm going to go y equals -3 times, since x equals 2y plus 6, I'm going to replace the x with 2y plus 6. So what do I do now? Distribute. So -3 times 2y is -6y. -3 times 6 is -18, and then that's +4, right? So if I combine my like terms, what's -18 plus 4? -14. Then if I want to get all my y's onto the left, what do I have to do? Add 6y to both sides. So those cancel, and you get 7y equals -14. So y, you have to divide by 7. So you get y equals -2. What do I do with that to figure out what x is? Plug it in for the y. So I'm going to go x equals 2 times -2 plus 6. So x equals 2. Okay? Huh? I don't know. Somebody said do it, so I did it. So we would have only had to do that one. Okay, for the next one, they want us to specifically solve it by graphing. So if I have x equals -y plus 3, I'm not ready to graph that yet. What do I have to do in order to get? No. What do I have to do to graph? Yeah, I have to solve for y. Okay? So how do you want me to solve this for y?
Plus y, add y.
Add y to both sides. So that's going to give me x plus y over here. The y's cancel, equals 3. Then how do I get rid of the x? Subtract x from both sides. So y equals -x plus 3. So where does that cross the y-axis?
3.
At 3. What is its slope? -1,
Oh, I thought it was negative.
because it's -x. So it's down 1 over 1, so my graph looks like that. Okay? For the next one, where does this cross the y-axis? That's already solved for y, so I'm good to go. Where does this cross the y-axis? It's the number that's all by itself is the y-intercept. So this crosses at -1. And then the slope is the number in front of the x. So in this case, that's -2. So down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. Well, and I guess we need to see where these cross. So I have to extend that out that way. And it looks like they cross right here. What are the coordinates of that point? -4, 7. So our answer is -4, 7. Okay? You think Francis needs a nap? Is she being cranky? Is Francis being cranky?
Yeah. No, Francis just doesn't really know what she's saying right now, so she's so.
Okay, so now we're graphing inequalities. Real easy. Where does the first one cross the y-axis? 3. And what is its slope? So I go down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. This one's a little bit tricky though because it's inequality. Do I use a solid line or a dotted line?
Solid.
Dotted, because it just says less than, but not equal to. So I'm going to use a dotted line to graph this. And then since it says less than, where do I shade? Underneath, because less than is below. All right, now I have to graph the other one. Where does that cross the y-axis? 6. And its slope is 6. So I would need to go up 6 over 1, which I can't really do. So I'm going to go down 6, backwards 1 instead.
Is that
Up
wrong?
6 and to the right 1 is the same as down 6 and to the left 1. Okay, because you're doing both things opposite, so it works out the same. Is that going to be a solid line or a dotted line?
Solid.
Solid line because it says less than or equal to. Okay, so that line is going to look something like this. Where do I shade that one? It says y is less than. Yeah, so I need to go below. Well, it's slightly tilting to the left, so below that is going to be there. And so the answer is where both things are shaded at the same time. So that's that place in there. Okay? So then it says, is 0, 0 a solution of the system you graphed? So what they mean by that is this point right here inside the shaded area? Yes. So the answer to A is yes. Is negative 4, 5 a solution of the system you graphed? No, because negative 4, 5 is out here. It's not in the double shaded area.
That's right.
Okay, now a little bit with absolute value. So they're starting by giving you the graph of y equals the absolute value of x. And I'm sure, 100% certain that you all remember that that's a nice V-shaped graph. Then it says, which of the graph below best represents the function negative 1/2 absolute value of x? So what would the negative do to the graph?
Make it point downward.
Right, it flips it upside down so it points downwards.
So it's B.
And now the slope will be what?
Wider.
It'll be wider, it'll be 1/2, so it'll go down 1 over 2, down 1 over 2, and it'll do that in both directions. And so it's going to have a wider graph, which is on the next page,
Never mind.
D.
Why would it make it wider though?
What's that?
Why would it make it wider?
Because the slope went from being 1 to being 1/2, so it made it flatter.
Smaller than the number two.
Brianna, it went from having a shape like this, which is where you go up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, and now it has a slope of 1/2. So it goes up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, which makes it look wider. Okay? Yeah. All right? Okay. Next one, same kind of deal. We're starting with this thing called y equals x. And then we're going to y equals 3x. Okay? What does y equals x look like? Where does that cross the y-axis? 0, because it's x plus 0. What is its slope?
1 over 1.
Right, so 1, 1, 1. So that looks like that. So here's the graph of the first one. How will that be changed if you say 3x instead?
It'll go up 3 over 3.
It'll go up 3 over 1 instead of up 1 over 1. So that graph is going to be quite a bit steeper. It's going to look something like this. So which one shows that? Okay, I like A,
Me too.
but it's hard to tell because they don't really have the things drawn in there very well. Okay, number 3. I tell you what, boys and girls, cats and kittens, ladies and germs, we have done so many of these problems. You should be able to get this so easily. A student filmmaker has a budget of $5,000 to make his film. He begins filming, which costs $75 an hour. Find the function that represents this situation. Well, he's got $5,000 to spend. For every hour that he films, he has to do what to his $5,000? Take away 75.
An hour.
So 5,000 minus 75H or D. Okay, number 4, if the cost to film increases to $100 an hour, how will this increase affect the function above? Then it will be 5,000 minus 100H. Number 5, how will that affect the graph?
Increase.
It'll increase what? This number is the number in front of the variable, so it's the what?
The slope.
It's the slope. So how do the slopes of these two compare? This is steeper in the negative direction because he's spending money more quickly. I don't know if steeper is a word, so I didn't use it. Okay, number 6. Determine the x and y intercepts for the graph and define the meaning of each if the filming costs are $100 an hour. Okay? Well, where's the y-intercept? So we're looking at this one right here. It costs $100 an hour. Where's the y-intercept? 5,000. And what number does that represent in the original problem? Right.
Budget.
That's his budget. That's how much money he has to start. What's the x-intercept?
75.
Nope. How many hours will he be able to film before he's out of money? 50. Right? Because 100 times 50 equals 5,000. So his x-intercept is 50. Okay? And that represents the maximum number of hours. Because when he gets there, he's out of money. It's all over. Yeah. Yeah, usually you would see this equation written as negative 100H plus 5,000. You're right. Because you need to not think of it as being the first number and the second number. You need to think the slope is always the number that goes with the variable, and the y-intercept is always the number that's all by itself. Whether it comes first or last doesn't matter. Okay? Read. You go make me a sandwich or what? What do you want? Did you raise your hand? Oh, hallucinated? Okay. You might be the... okay, number 7. At the last minute, the student filmmaker discovers he must pay $1,500 to rent the building and $100 for filming. Okay, so how many hours can he film? What? I'm looking for an answer right now. How many hours can he film? 35, because he had $5,000 to start with. He's got to subtract now, unfortunately, the $1,500 to rent the building. So that only leaves him $3,500. If it costs $100 per hour, he's got to divide that by 100, and now he can only film for 35 hours because of the rent that he has to pay. Okay? Okay, then the last page on this is a little bit of statistics, which we didn't put any time into this year, but I imagine you've seen it before. So this is Kathy who went shopping, and this is what she spent at different stores. She apparently is loaded. Okay, so we're going to choose between the following words: mean, median, or mode. And the first question says, which value describes the average of Kathy's purchases? Right, mean is another word for average. We don't need to figure out what it is, because I'm sure you guys all know how to do that. What do I do with these numbers to figure out the mean? Add them all up and divide by the number that there are. So I'd add them all up and divide by 6. Okay? Okay, B, which value would Kathy tell her parents to convince them that she's not spending too much money on clothes? No, but would she tell them the mean, the median, or the mode? What's the mode? 99 is the number that comes up most, right? The median is the middle number when you put them in order. So if I go 15, 72, 89, 99, 99, 109, what's the median?
89 and 99.
Yeah, it's right in between 89 and 99, which would be, what's 94. So if she wanted to convince her parents that she wasn't spending much money, she would probably want to pick the median, because that's the smallest of the 3 numbers. Okay? Which value would Kathy tell her parents to convince them that she needs an increase in her allowance? We never figured out what the average was, did we? So we don't know how to compare. We better do that real quick. 109 plus 72. Okay, the average comes out to be $80.50. So we probably should have used that for this one too, to say that she's not spending too much money. Which value should she use to convince them that she needs more money? Now she wants the highest one, and the highest one is going to be the mode, which is $99. Because she wants to use the highest of the numbers. That's my explanation. Don't worry about it. All right, number 2, the finishing times of 2 runners, Jamal and Tim, for several 1-mile races in minutes are shown in box and whisker plots. Who had the fastest time? Tim. Because his whisker extends all the way out to 7 minutes, which is a little bit farther than Jamal's. Who had the slowest time? Tim, because his other whisker also extends out the farthest to the left. I think Jamal's goes just a little bit short of it. Okay. All right. Make a convincing argument that Jamal is the fastest runner.
He's more consistent.
He's more consistent. The box. So do you see how the box, Tim's box has moved farther, Jamal's box has moved farther to the right than Tim's?
Yeah.
And that's where most of the times will occur inside that box in a box and whisker plot. And so most of Jamal's times are higher than Tim's. Oh, we want a lower time though for him to be faster, huh?
How would Tim have the slowest and the fastest time?
Because his whiskers extend farther in both directions. He had bad race.
But he did good. I know.
You're making the thing good, but then you're saying you did bad when you take race.
We screwed up though, because to be faster, what do you want?
Less time.
Less time. So it's the other way around. Tim's times are consistently lower than Jamal's, and so that's what we're looking
Wait,
for.
what?
We had that backwards. We were looking for the bigger times, but bigger times
Does
means
that say
slower.
faster?
Consistently faster.
So that means Jamal and me can't be.
What is that?
No, it's still Tim.
Oh,
Okay, last one.
It's on your
It's
page.
Last one.
Jam out.
The number of traffic citations given daily by 2 police departments over a 2-week period is shown in the box and whisker plots. Choose the letter of the best answer. What is the best estimate of the difference in the greatest number of citations given by each department in one day? Well, what does it look like the biggest number on the west is? How far does that whisker go over to what?
About 190.
About 190? What was the biggest that the east went to?
210.
About 210. So the difference between those two is about 20. Okay, so that's going to be B. Okay, what is the difference in the median number? How do you find the middle number in the box and whisker plot? It's the line right in the middle, yeah. So where's the line right in the middle for the west?
135.
135, I like that. What's the line right in the middle for the east? 142-ish. So that's a difference of about what? 7. So we'd have to go with about 8, which is A, because we're just estimating theirs. All right, C. We want to find the statement that is false. Did the East Department give the greatest number of citations in one day? Yes, because their whisker extends the farthest to the right. Did the East Department give the least number of citations in one day? No, that was easy. So B is the one that is false. Okay?
Here.
All right, make sure your name's on it.
Here.
Sure it is. Tomorrow.